And then what I'll do is once I post the stream on my Facebook page, I will tag you or tag your music page, and then I will from there do an intro. Like once we to get the podcast started, I'll do an intro. I'll introduce you. We'll do a little talking about what got you into music, like like your origin story and stuff like that. Oh no, are you frozen? Is it me? Okay, you're back.
Oh,
That
there we
was
go.
weird.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I tried putting my AirPods in, but I guess that's not going to work. So
Okay,
this is fine.
because I was sitting here, I was like, oh, she's either frozen or she's listening very intently.
Yeah. All
Uh,
right. We're good now.
okay, cool. So basically, I don't, I don't know how much of that you heard, but I'm gonna when we to get started, I'm gonna do an intro. I'll introduce you,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about what your early years, what got you into music, stuff like that.
Okay.
Then we'll talk about the new single that you dropped 10 days ago. And then we'll talk about the single that you dropped in July and the lyric
Yeah.
video that came out for that. And we'll just kind of jump around
Okay.
and see how
Perfect.
the conversation goes.
Sounds good.
All right. Let me post this. I really don't like how Facebook's new setup is. And I'm really mad that they're
But
forcing me to conform and jump over to it.
yeah.
All right. Oh, all right. Cool, cool. Posting. I'm going to switch this view. Boom. So gallery. Awesome. All right. So we should be posted. Let me share this really quick.
Some.
Amplified. Perfect. All right. Awesome. All right. Got that. Close this. Guess I can close that. Yep. Cool. All right. If whenever you're ready.
Perfect. I'm posting one more.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I updated. That's YouTube.
Okay. Perfect.
Cool. Ready.
All right. So, like I mentioned, I'll do an intro. I'll introduce you, and we'll just kind of go in.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Korynn OC. How's it going today, Korynn?
It's going good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you because I've been listening to your music all day, and, it's just really exciting that you've been staying so busy during the pandemic. Like you started releasing one single in July, and then you came in with like I guess it would be more like a surprise release a couple of weeks ago. Was
Yeah,
show
that
me
was
how to be lonely.
Show
That
Me How to
was
Be Lonely.
yeah, that was kind of more of a surprise release from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, it
So
was definitely that one was a little different for me actually because it was a duet.
mhm.
So it was a co-write between two people that I know and I'm friends with, and they wrote the song and then had me featured as one of the artists on that song. So that was kind of like a fun little side project to do.
Gotcha. And so before we jump too deep into everything that you got going on, first off, I want to thank you so much for giving us the time to sit down and chat. Next, what's kind of your origin story for the people that don't know you or aren't that familiar with you? What got you into music? What's kind of your origin story?
So I started singing at a really young age. My dad actually plays guitar, and he would play guitar for me and my older siblings to help us go to sleep. So at the time, I think I was the only one in the house because I'm a lot younger than both my older siblings. And when he played guitar for me, and rather than going to sleep like my brother and sister used to, I would stay up all night singing along, dancing around, and singing songs with him on the guitar. So that's kind of how he learned that I had a knack for music because I would sing along when he would tune his guitar and he saw that I had the right pitch. So my parents decided to put me in choir and voice lessons at a young age, and I started performing out in front of an audience when I was about 6 years old with my dad.
Gotcha. And you're California born and raised, correct? Because you're originally
Yes,
from San Francisco and then you moved down to LA.
yeah. So I'm
Oh,
originally from NorCal, but close to SF. Yeah.
okay, gotcha. So were when did you end up moving to Los Angeles, and what was it kind of about Los Angeles? Because actually, I was watching a video on your YouTube channel. You did like an Ariana Grande cover explaining your first day in LA, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about that. But how long ago did you move to LA, and what was it about it that you wanted to move there?
So I've always wanted to move to LA. I went to school in San Francisco, and then after my time in SF, I really wanted to move to LA. That was next on my list of things to do. So once I finished college, I went home for a little more than half a year, but the whole time I wanted to make that move, and my parents were kind of against it. But one of my friends had a room open up, and I was like, this is a sign. I have to go. It's my time to go. And I moved there it's been almost 2 years now because I moved there in November, not last November, but the November before.
Mhm.
So coming up on 2 years, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's amazing how time flies, especially when you're able to kind of pursue your passion. It's
Mhm.
like you're not being pressured into kind of doing what you should or not should be doing. But like getting a job and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just amazing. Like you're kind of doing what you want to do, and it's
Yeah.
amazing how time flies. So the video I was referring to, you were talking about you'd picked up like an extra gig and you weren't quite sure what that was or what you're in for. Uh
Oh, okay, interesting. So I don't remember telling that story. I do remember doing the Ariana Grande cover.
yeah,
That's funny that I mentioned that in that
yeah.
video. I don't
It
remember
was
that part. But
it
I'm
was so funny.
guessing I'm talking about live streaming because that was some of the work I was doing last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about how you picked up an extra gig, like you had just moved to LA. You
Hmm.
picked up an extra gig because you thought you were going to be like a audience member or something in a game show, and then you were like an
Oh,
extra on like an actual TV show, and you were there for like ever and a day, and it's like, oh yeah, I forget. Not everybody knows the shitty life of an extra. Like it is always like that. So
that's so funny. Okay, then that was when I just moved to LA. It was
yeah.
like my first month there. I was going on Craigslist looking for work, and there was that gig offer, and I remember sending in my info, and they're like, "Yeah, come in tomorrow." And in my head, I was like, "I've never really been to LA. I've never really accepted work off Craigslist." And I was like, "What if this is like something
Yeah.
sketchy. Like, I
Yeah.
don't really know what I'm getting myself involved in. But then I Googled the address and it was like a legitimate TV studio. So I was like, okay, chill. And I ended up having a great time. I got fed the whole time I was
Yep.
there. I was paid pretty well considering that you can kind of do whatever during your downtime.
Hmm.
But it was so random. I played like a wizard student
Yeah.
extra. So it was fun.
Okay.
It was really fun.
Yeah. Your extra story sounds like my first extra experience. I was living in New Mexico and they were looking for extras for the Independence Day sequel,
Oh, okay.
Resurgence or whatever.
Hmm.
And they were looking for just people to play civilians every normal day people. It's like I can do that. It's on a Saturday. Don't have to work. I can do that. And it was like, 8 hours or whatever. I
Yeah.
get there, I go through like the whole signing up process and all that stuff. And they're like, you know what? We're going to change your role because you look like you could play a soldier. We need soldiers tonight. So we're going to move you to tonight to the night side. And I'm like, okay. So what time do they report? They report at 7 p.m. It's like, well, you realize it's currently 7 a.m., right? And they're
Yeah.
like, well, that does put you in an interesting predicament. You could sit here in the casting room and just get paid and just kind of sit here until then, or you can leave and not get paid. And I'm like, well, I'm 3 hours from home, so I'm going to just sit here and get paid.
Yeah.
And so I sat there for 12 hours, got paid for like 16 hours to go fall asleep on set because I had to play like a dead soldier, but I was so tired that I was dead tired and fell asleep on set. And they're like, oh, you did perfect. And I'm like, okay, cool. And
You're great.
sounds good to me. But
That's
no,
funny.
yeah. But so let's go ahead and talk about the most recent single. We talked about it a little bit before here at the beginning, but let's talk about Show Me How to Be Lonely.
Mhm.
You'd mentioned that it was like your first duet feature situation.
Yeah, well, so this is actually the first single I have released that I didn't fully write lyrics to. So normally I write all of my own lyrics. All of my other songs, it's predominantly me or co-write.
Mhm.
So, but majority is just me, all of my singles. So this one was a different case. My friend Brian Fire wrote this song with another one of my friends, Kira Moran. And Brian wanted to feature me on the song along with his vocal. So he reached out to me to sing the vocals. And when he sent me the song, I was like, oh, this song's really cool. It's great. I was like, I can totally relate to this song. And I feel like a lot of other people will as well. Like, we're in the middle of quarantine, all of us are lonely, right? All of us are feeling a little bit lonely and trying to figure out how to navigate that space. So I really related to the song and I thought it was really cool to sing something that someone else had written. That was like a really interesting experience just because I've never really done that before.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was all written during quarantine, all written,
Yeah,
recorded, produced, all that fun stuff.
yeah.
Um, at what or when did you start working on it? Like how deep into quarantine? Like it's so weird that
Um, let's see. If we just released a song, maybe I want to say we started working on it. Well, I'm not sure when I think he started writing this song beginning of quarantine, so
okay,
maybe February, or I remember him showing it to me and he already had like a chorus ID. Oh my god, what's that noise?
I don't know.
Okay, that was
I mean I heard the thumping. It sounded like a dog. I don't know.
I'm like not at my house right now. That's why I'm hello?
Okay.
Okay. I don't I'm freaked out. Anyway,
It sounded like a
um
dog, but okay, go ahead.
I'm hoping there are dogs in the house, so I'm hoping that's what it is. It sounded like it was coming from under the bed. I'm just not gonna look. I've been watching too many scary movies. It's October.
Yep.
Anywho, so I think he started writing the song last year because I remember seeing the chorus, and then I think him and Kira worked on finishing the song maybe within those first few months. So I didn't start recording the song until I think June or July, I
Okay.
want to say.
So yeah, it's so weird. Like I've lost so much track of time. Like it feels like this is how life has just been forever. Like I don't
Yeah.
remember what it was like
It
going into an office or for my normal 9 to 5 job, and it's like this sucks. But
it's
yeah.
crazy. I just can't believe how fast this year has flown by. I feel like I've done a lot, but I've also done nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I feel exactly the
It's
same. It's
it's
like,
weird. I mean, even when you ask me how long I've been in LA for, I'm like, oh, I've been there for a year. But then I'm like, wait,
all
but it's
right.
also been a year in quarantine. So really, I've been there for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's so weird because it's like I had like every year in January 1st, I plan out like my year. Like these are the
Yeah.
things that I want to hit. I haven't hit any of those things, but I'm hitting all these other goals, like just all these other random things that are like actually big deal, an actual big deal. But it's just like, wait, I haven't done anything that I said I wanted to do. Like I said that I wanted to travel internationally at least once this year. That ain't happening. Like,
Yeah, that was on my list of things to do as well. I had a cute little planner I bought for this year. Haven't used it once.
yeah. I mean, I found out how cheap, like, it's relatively cheap to fly to the UK. It's like, well, maybe if I can save up the money by the end of the year, I'll go spend a week
Yeah,
or so in the UK. It's just like, and then now it's like, yeah, that may not even happen next year, but who
I
knows?
know. Yeah, I told
Oh,
myself as soon as there's a vaccine, I want to go to Japan.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to actually where I really want to go is Australia. Like that's my number one place. All right,
yeah, that's definitely up there for me. I think that's number two on my list.
nice. Um, so also you just released a new lyric video for your summer, like your summer single, I guess is what
Yeah,
we'll call it.
time to bloom.
Time to Bloom. What's kind of the story behind that? And I'm assuming that was like a more proper what you're all about and
Yeah, I
what
mean, I
record.
definitely that was all me in
Yeah.
terms of writing and Witty in producing that track. But that one, I wrote that song during quarantine, so I started writing that maybe come like March, April.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people can feel this way as well with everything that's been going on. I was feeling really like down, kind of like lost and confused. There's a lot of things happening in the world,
Hmm.
and it was like a pretty depressive time for me, and like I was kind of just in a weird place. So writing that song kind of helped me through it. Like I felt like quarantine really gave me a lot of time to reflect on myself and
Hmm.
who I am and who I want to become. And that's kind of what inspired that song for me, because it was like, all right, this is my time to blossom into the person that I want to be, and to um, figure out those goals for myself and achieve them, type of thing.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so as far as like the lyric video goes, did you do any work on that or were you working with somebody else to?
We're working with someone else for that video, yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool. And so, like all this music, are you working towards an EP, an LP, or do you kind of see yourself doing like just singles for now, like especially during the quarantine?
So I do have another project that I'm working on, and I want to release it as an EP.
Hmm.
But I think my release strategy is going to be more like releasing singles and then
Hmm.
releasing the EP. I haven't fully decided on that yet, but I am focused more on dropping singles for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And especially right now, it feels like singles are just kind of the way, not even so much in general, but like during the quarantine, it just feels like singles are the better way to go because like even if you recorded a whole bunch of music with the intent of releasing it as an EP or an LP,
Hmm.
by releasing them as singles, you kind of get the most amount of legs off of it because it's like okay, you can
Exactly.
release this one in May, then you can release the next one in August, and just kind
Yeah.
of get the most amount of length out
It
of
gives
it.
me a chance to focus on each song individually and
Mm.
promoting each song rather than just one full EP. And it kind of gives me more content spread out over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely one of those deals where right now, especially with the way how the industry is, if you are even if you do release an EP or an LP, any song on that album has to be good enough that it could be the single, like the lead single. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's kind of
exactly.
how the industry is, and that's how a lot of people are approaching it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but so you're working towards that. Are you still kind of writing, or are you in the process of recording? Where are you kind of at creatively right now?
So I have 3 songs that are pretty much done at this
Mm,
point. They just need to be mastered, and I think those are gonna be my next releases. And because I've been spending so much time at home, I'm actually starting to learn how to mix everything myself.
oh, nice.
So one of my things I've been doing is I've been recording at home, obviously, just recording everything here. So I've been learning how to use Logic and learning how to record myself. And now I've just been watching a ton of YouTube videos and
Nice.
copying their steps and trying to see like if that works. So I actually just wrote and finished recording a song and I mixed it myself. And I'm like, I'm a little nervous because I was like, oh, maybe I could release it as it is. But I'm like, but I've never released anything that I've done.
Yeah.
I did everything myself from the like it's like very minimal production, but
Yeah.
I did the production and the mixing and the vocals.
Yeah.
But some of my other friends who do music listen to it and they're like, yeah, you should just like drop it now. But I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know, because like I've never really done it before, and I feel like it needs to be like super polished and I have to send it to someone to mix and master it.
Yeah.
So I'm debating on that one. I was like,
I got you.
it could
It
be
it
fun.
it's almost one of those deals where it's like it's your first time mixing and mastering your own music. You feel like you want to or need to send it to somebody that has experience doing it, so that
Yeah,
it's like, hey, is this really sound good, or do I just think it sound do I just think
yeah,
it sounds good? You know, and it's like I've had to do that several times because kind of doing the live and amplified thing, we do live acoustic sessions,
okay.
and my audio engineer can't always get stuff turned around as quickly as we need it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing some of the mixing and mastering. And one day he'd accidentally mixed a song that I had already mixed and released, and I played them next to each other. And I was like, okay, I need to stop doing this because yours sounds way better than mine does. Like, I think mine sounds
Yeah,
amazing, but yours sounds so much better. Like, I need to
yeah.
stop.
I was like, I think I did a pretty good job considering it was my first time and like me
Mhm.
listening to it. But I'm like, I know if I hand this off to someone who's a professional, it'll come out like really a lot better.
Yep. Yep. It's one of those things where it's just like they just know those little things, those little
Yeah,
secrets, and it's like,
exactly.
and
I was
he's
like, I'm still
offered
in
to
the very
show,
beginner stages.
yeah, he's offered to show me those secrets, and it's just like I already do so much. Do I
Yeah.
really need to know how to mix and master my own audio right now? Like, it feels like you're kind of writing yourself out of this equation right now. So, it's just one of those deals. But
Yeah.
um, when you're not playing music,
Mhm.
what do you do? What are you doing to kind of get away? You'd mentioned you've been watching a lot of scary movies and a lot of horror films because it's October and what have you. But
Yeah. I actually hate scary movies, but my boyfriend makes me watch them with him. So I hate them. As you can tell, I'm easily spooked. What have I been doing? I mean, I did my big camping trip to Yellowstone with my family. That was really nice. Um, a lot of FaceTime calls, a
yeah,
lot of just talking to people, but also just, I mean, yeah, writing music. I guess that's the music stuff. I'm trying to think, what do I do that's not music? Watching Netflix.
okay. What's your favorite show
Um,
on Netflix?
well, I guess I've been watching HBO. I just finished
Okay,
watching Raised by Wolves. That was pretty good.
okay.
Just finished that like the other night. I've been doing that, and then I actually over quarantine I got a Nintendo Switch, and I haven't played video games since I was about maybe like 10 or 11. So I started with Animal Crossing, and now I'm playing Pokemon. So that's been it's a
Nice,
good like little downtime thing.
nice. I actually last year when I moved out here to Texas, I bought a PlayStation 2 just because I was like, I need something to do. I like, especially right now. It was like right at the beginning of quarantine. I hadn't had a chance to make friends because I just moved out here. I was like, well, I need something to do. And so I went and bought a PlayStation 2, and I've been playing Tony Hawk like
Nice.
all the time. It's just like I feel like I'm in eighth grade again. Thanks. I need to stop. But
Yeah,
um
I feel
now,
that.
have you seen the show Ozarks?
I
That's
yes,
okay.
I watched that over quarantine. Yeah.
Yep, that's what I just recently got into. I went similar to you. I went and visited my family in Kentucky. Like my
Mm.
parents live in Florida, my sister lives in Indiana. They're like, "Hey, let's meet in Kentucky," and I'm like, "All right." So I drove out there, and my dad's like, "Hey, have you ever watched Ozark?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Here's the first episode." And I'm like, "Okay." And so we sat there and watched the first episode, and then I got hooked, and I was just like, okay, I guess I got to finish this. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It took me a really long time to finish.
Mm,
But yeah, once I finished it, it's pretty good.
yeah. I'm about halfway through season 3. I've taken a
Okay.
little bit of a break. I feel like I'm probably gonna have to go back a couple of episodes.
That's pretty much what I did. I was like watching it and then I got busy with stuff and then I finally like ended the seasons.
Gotcha. Um, so one thing we like to do on Live and Amplified is pass on knowledge to younger musicians and
Okay.
like help younger musicians that are maybe just starting in their career or maybe ready to take that next step. So what advice would you give a younger Korynn OC that you might, from your perspective now?
So for me, I would have told myself to get on YouTube earlier and focus on myself rather than I think when I was younger, I spent a lot of time trying to be cool or like fitting in with the people around me. And so the advice I would give to a younger me is to just focus on myself, value what makes you different, and
Mm,
not be afraid to put yourself out there, whether that's doing live shows, putting yourself on YouTube, or for nowadays, kids right now, that would be like TikTok,
mm,
um,
yeah.
maybe Instagram, whatever new platforms there are. I think just putting yourself out there, even if you're nervous about your content or nervous about what people are going to say to you, there's no better time than right now to get started.
Yep, absolutely. Actually, it's funny that you say that because I was on Facebook this morning and somebody posted a graphic or a meme or something that said
Mhm.
3 words. What would you tell your 18-year-old self? And I literally put YouTube all in, you know,
Yeah,
because at
yeah, that's
18,
one of
I
my
was
bigger
18 in
regrets.
2005 when YouTube was like just coming out. And I
Mhm.
was like, yep, that's exactly what I tell myself. Like, if I just stayed and went all in on YouTube, because I started like back when it first came out, and I was doing like just randomness. Then I'd stop. Had I stayed doing it, who knows? Like,
Yeah,
who knows? I may be still nothing, or I might be like the biggest YouTuber ever. Who knows?
yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
But now I just told myself that with TikTok. So I have to take my own advice and be posting on TikTok every
Yeah.
day.
I I was trying really hard at the beginning of quarantine to get into TikTok. Like I
Yeah.
was making a concerted effort every day, posting 2 or 3 times a day. I was
Oh,
making a
wow.
real effort. And then that news came out about how TikTok was going to get banned. And I'm like, well, why am I going to keep putting effort into it?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then it got extended to 90 days. And then now it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just
It's
like,
it's just all craziness. That's why I've had people tell me the same thing. They're like, "Why are you on TikTok when it's going to be canceled soon?" And I'm like, I highly doubt that's going to happen.
mhm,
Well, not that I doubt it's going to happen, but I was like, I will worry about it when it actually gets shut off because Instagram Reels is not cutting it.
no.
The
I,
the
it,
base on Instagram Reels versus TikTok are two totally different
yeah.
groups of people.
Yeah. And I've been trying to make sense of the Instagram reels. And it's just like, if I'm going to post something, I'm going to post to IGTV anyways. Like
Yeah,
what I would post on reels would naturally go on IGTV anyway. So it's just like, yeah,
yeah.
I'm good, you know? So, um, but from your perspective, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Hmm. Best piece of advice I've ever been given. Um, I think for me is just to be consistent. Um, I've gotten a lot of advice about just making music as often as possible, been posting more consistently. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now for myself. My goal for like moving forward, my goal is to be putting out music every month.
Hmm.
Because I used to spend a lot of time like making music, but then not putting it out because you're like, oh, well, it's not perfect. But then the thing about art is it's never going to be perfect in your eyes. You're always going to constantly want to change it. So I think it's better just be releasing stuff. And now that we have Spotify and the internet, it's like you can change your art. You
Yeah,
can post a song now, and then if you want to edit it, you can post it again later and
yeah,
make it a remix. Or you can
absolutely.
even change your albums. Like music is changing so much in the way that we consume music as well.
Hmm.
Like you can have an album on Spotify and then maybe add 5 more songs and make it in like an EP to an LP.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Have you thought about like now that you've really started working with your own mixing and mastering and all that stuff? Have you thought about like doing just a straight up quarantine, like just figuring out like if you want to do an EP and LP, how much you can write? Because like we obviously don't know how long this is all going to last. Like it could
Yeah,
be up in November, like you could end in November, or we could go for another year. Like nobody really
exactly.
knows.
Yeah, I
Uh,
definitely want to spend more time doing that because it gives me more flexibility and freedom in terms of when I can release music. Because when you work with other people, the thing is, you never really know when it's going to be done. Like things happen, things get in the way of people's lives or whatever. And normally it takes at least a month minimum to get something done when you're working with someone else.
mhm.
Rather than if I wanted to record something right now and mix everything myself, I could just go ahead and release it whenever I wanted. So I do want to spend more time doing that, especially now that my view on music has changed a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and realizing that maybe I don't have to be as perfect as I have been in the past because there are a lot of artists that there's so many rap songs nowadays that have not even been mastered.
Yeah. Oh. Or if they have, they've been using that. Oh shit! What's the name of the mastering software? I keep seeing emails and stuff for them, but
I don't know. I'm not sure
it
about that one, but
it
well,
it
like songs pop off and then on TikTok too. There's songs that are being dropped on TikTok and they become huge and then they just get released right away rather than like spending that time on waiting to go and pay someone to mix and master and then getting that back within a few weeks or whatever.
yeah, absolutely. It's like just the amount of people or the amount of effort to put out a I don't want to say a half-ass song, but like a not complete song because it's just like speed is kind of the name of the game right now, and it's just
It
like
is.
yeah, but if you know how to master, it doesn't take that long to master your music. Like just
Yeah.
you know
So
it.
I think that's what I'm gonna keep doing and keep learning for myself is just getting better at mixing and mastering and allowing myself to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
Gotcha, gotcha. Do you have any like more music video or lyric videos planned for any of your upcoming music, or is it or not upcoming music? Sorry. Wow. I for show me how to be lonely. That's what I meant.
I do think we're gonna try could we have our promo video that's on Instagram and
Mhm.
IGTV, I believe. So I think in that sense and vein, we might try to make some sort of full visual to go along with that video as well.
Gotcha, gotcha. And have you had a chance to kind of experiment with like more cinematic music videos, or have you not really had a chance to?
Um, Not too much. I
Or
think the videos on my page are the most, I mean, the videos on my YouTube page are all the ones that I've done so far.
okay,
Um, and I think moving forward, like just hanging out with the people that I hang out now or know, like in LA that do music, like everyone's kind of just doing everything themselves. So
hmm
like before, like when I first moved to LA, I feel like I had this notion that I had to spend a lot of money to go get my stuff produced, get it mixed and mastered, get a really nice music video. Cause I also have friends that are putting out super HD, beautiful videos
hmm
that take a lot of time and effort, but also a lot of money. But now in quarantine, I was like, I don't have any money. Like, I don't have my day job anymore. You know,
hmm
everything's been closed. Everything is still closed in LA for the
yeah,
most part, unless you're going to a restaurant or like a essential store.
yeah,
So I'm not really working at the moment other than just focused on my music. So I was like, I don't have money to put into high production music videos. But then all my other friends are putting out great videos that they shoot on their iPhone editing it on their computer. And I was like, I can do that. Like I
Yeah.
have a camera. So the other songs I'm gonna put out, I already started just taking visuals,
Hmm.
and I'm going to be putting together like a more like quarantine style music
Yeah.
videos.
Have you thought about, especially like now during quarantine, have you thought about going back and doing like the cover videos? Like I saw you had a few on your YouTube page, but have you thought about going back to that, or do you not want to get into that stigma of being a YouTube cover artist?
I definitely have considered here and there if I should be getting into covers. I guess it just comes down to my time and like what's priority for me.
Hmm.
I've also shifted. I mean, I haven't really been doing too much on my personal YouTube page. I feel like
Hmm.
more of my time's been focused on TikTok
Okay.
and posting covers there. But of course, they're shorter, like 30
Yeah.
seconds to like a minute.
Gotcha. Awesome.
But
Awesome.
I haven't been doing that much cover stuff lately. I've definitely been spending most of my time writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's kind of where the passion is anyways, and it's like you're gonna get more joy and fulfillment out of doing originals and like longer legs. Like you see a lot of these like these old school YouTubers that jump started their music career by doing covers, but
Yeah.
they're still going to be that the cover artist or the cover musician from YouTube. So I
Yeah.
totally get that. When there isn't a quarantine
Mhm.
or COVID-19 or global pandemic, whatever you want to call it, how often are you out playing live shows?
Pretty frequently, I would say. Depends on where I'm at. Like if I'm staying in NorCal, I'll be doing shows like every weekend. 'Cause my dad plays guitar and like we'll just play everywhere. And then in LA, maybe like twice a month.
Gotcha, gotcha. Have you
Yeah.
had a chance to kind of experiment with like the live streams, live?
I've done a little bit of live streaming. I actually used to have a side gig live streaming like all of my music. So I would
Mhm,
live stream just me playing piano
mhm.
or showing my new songs and doing stuff like that. Um, but I had like a weird contract with them, so I wasn't allowed to live stream when I left for a few
Mhm.
months. But that time period is through, so I'm able to live stream freely now from whatever platforms.
Gotcha.
So I've done maybe like 2 or 3 live streams on my Instagram. So I
Mm,
think that's something I can start getting more into.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're a lot more active on your Instagram, and I'm so bad at TikTok. Like I did, it's one of those things where I
It's
didn't
hard.
realize musicians were actually using TikTok like that.
Hmm.
And so TikTok's kind of how I feel about TikTok now is kind of how I used to feel about Instagram. And
Okay.
then it took quarantine for me like, oh wait, Instagram's awesome. And now everybody's attention is somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, I'm slow to the game. I'm sorry, guys. And so now I guess I'm gonna have to start looking at TikTok. So 6 months from now, I'm not like, oh hey, TikTok's awesome. Oh, we're on
Yeah.
this other cool app. So
God,
yeah,
TikTok's definitely a lot of fun.
yeah,
I spend too much time consuming content there when I need to be creating content on TikTok, but it's hard to sometimes you just get lost. But I do
yeah,
find a lot of inspiration on there as well in terms of promoting my music. I like to watch other people that are doing music and seeing what they're doing and get ideas.
yeah, absolutely. The couple of times that I have been on TikTok, it is really easy to get lost and just
Yeah.
kind of consume everything. They make it so easy to just sit there and consume that it's just like,
Yeah.
wait, I went down a weird rabbit hole. I came on here to post something, and
Yeah.
40 minutes later, I'm like, wait,
You're
what
like,
did
I
I
need a
come on
break.
here? So I know I completely get it. I completely get it. But I don't want to keep you too much longer. I really appreciate it. It is Friday, even though it is a pandemic, all that fun stuff. Um, so kind of moving forward, you're still in the writing process. And there's really not any live shows happening in LA because they're still pretty tightly locked down, or
Well, one of my friends actually performed last month outdoors
okay.
downtown. So I think basically in LA, as long as it's outside, it's fine.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I think things are slowly trying to get back to normal. In Northern California, they actually opened up dine-in like a week or two ago. So I'm really hoping LA is next. Trying to stay positive
Yeah.
and see what happens. Hopefully things are just starting to get better. But then we have flu season around the corner, so
Yeah. I
could
was
go
talking.
anyway. It's a gamble.
I had a musician on a few weeks ago. She's also a nurse, like that's her
Oh,
9 to 5. And we were talking about how bad flu season is going to be this year, just because you
yeah.
got all these people that have been bathing in disinfectant all summer, just
I didn't
trying to
think
keep,
about that.
yeah. And she was like, yeah, you're the first person to ever really bring that up. Like, people have been bathing in this stuff for the
Yeah,
last 9, 8, 9, 10,
that's true.
however long it'll be. And your body, although it's killing bad bacteria, it's also making the bacteria immune to the disinfectant. And plus, it's also killing off the good bacteria that'll fight off like just common cold and common flu virus or bugs. So you're probably going to get really sick during um, flu season, just because
Yeah,
your
that's
body doesn't
true.
have the bacteria to fight, like the good bacteria to fight this stuff off. And it's like, and that's why I don't bathe in that stuff, because I remember like when everything first jumped off, I was at work and there was people like every 5 minutes. It was like from the hands all the way up the arm. And I'm like,
Oh, wow. That's
that
yeah,
dries out
crazy.
your skin, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, my hands have been so dry from since February, just from overwashing them constantly. And no matter how much lotion I put on, it sometimes doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
constantly washing my hands.
Yep. Yep. It is. It's one of those things where it's just like, all right, I can handle washing my hands because at least like I could put lotion on it and it'll be all right. But just for whatever reason, anytime I use that disinfectant gel or
Yeah,
whatever it's called,
hand
it just,
sanitizer.
yeah, hand
Yeah,
sanitizer. It
yeah,
just,
that's all alcohol.
yeah, it just dries my hands out so bad. And it's just like, uh, this is not comfortable. I hate it. Um, So, but what does a Korynn OC live show look like? Is it you and a band? Are you playing piano? Like, what's kind of a live show for you look like?
So it really depends. A lot of times I play with my dad who plays guitar,
Mhm.
and then I will also play with his band on occasion. But like when I'm in LA, it's normally like me and a track
Okay.
and doing my more like upbeat pop stuff. Cause when I convert my songs that I have on Spotify to acoustic or band, it
Mhm.
sounds totally different. Like they're two
Yeah.
different vibes, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I have two different shows that I do. Like the ones that I do with my dad, that's acoustic guitar or with the full band and like more like rockin'. And then the
Mhm.
ones that I do with my tracks, that's more like focused on like my artistry, I feel like, because you really hear the sounds
Yeah.
that I've put out. Um,
It's really what the original intent for the song was.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's more definitely more like that pop wave, more
Mhm.
dancey.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Have you ever thought about bringing the? Because I saw in some of your videos you do play the piano, like
I do play
you're,
piano, yeah,
yeah.
a little
Have you
bit.
ever thought about doing like a just straight Alicia Keys style piano album? Like,
I definitely so my first songs I put out were just to piano and
Mhm.
guitar. I wasn't playing piano. I think my piano playing is very minimal.
Okay,
I can play all the chords, but
yeah,
I'm not playing anything like crazy.
yeah,
Um, but I did put out my EP that was with my friend Dow who played piano, who is amazing. He's like classical
yeah,
trained, and sounded amazing. So I have some songs out under that, um, that are more like ballady and has that instrumentation. But I definitely would play around with that idea.
yeah. Especially now that you've kind of gone through your career and you've been doing this for a little bit and you're starting to gain some experience. Yeah. So since moving out to LA, how's kind of your music changed? How have you kind of evolved as a musician?
Um, so before moving to LA, I think most of my songs were based in like EDM pop.
Mhm.
So definitely more electronic. And now I'm moving towards using more, oh my God, Okay, the dog is somewhere.
Okay.
Um,
Somebody's been watching too many scary movies.
oh, where it is. I'm just confused. Anywho, dude, it's because it's dark in here.
Yeah, I got you. We're almost done. So
Okay.
yeah,
Um, so I was doing like EDM pop, and now I'm leaning more towards live instrumentation. I actually love having live instruments in my songs, and I love performing to live instruments too. So eventually, for my live show, I would like to have a combination of it being my track, but also having live instrumentation as well. So kind of mixing those two elements would be ideal for me, and that's what I'm trying to go towards with my new projects that will be coming out within the next few months.
gotcha. And then as far as where people can find you online, find all your music, where can they find you?
So I'm online. It's www.korynnoc.com.
Mhm.
So my name, Korynn OC, and then that is my handle for literally everything. So Korynn OC on TikTok, Korynn OC on Instagram, Korynn OC on YouTube,
So
Facebook.
you got
Um,
really lucky that you were able to get it on everything.
yeah, yeah. So
That's
I'm lucky
awesome.
my name is spelled pretty unique.
Yeah. It well, and it's just rare in general to be able to get it across all platforms. Like,
Yeah,
you know, I tried
worked
to
out.
reformat how my handle was just to try and get it on all the platforms, and I still can't do it. And it's just like, all right, this one's going to be the weird one out, but luckily it's Twitter, and I don't use Twitter that much, so you know. Um, but once again, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you giving us the time to sit down and chat a little bit. I do want to ask though, is California Pizza Kitchen as good as people say it is? Or
People say that.
I
I mean,
I see
it's fine.
it's
I,
fine. Okay.
it's I mean, if I go there, I enjoy it, but it would never be like my first option for pizza.
Okay. Fair enough. Because
But they have a lot of, it's because there's a lot of other great places to get like really
yeah,
good pizza.
I got you. I went there when I was a kid
Okay.
and I thought it was pretty like I mean I'm from Chicago, so like it's
Okay.
not Chicago pizza by any stretch
No.
of the
No,
imagination.
yeah.
And then when I was in living in New Mexico, I saw that they started doing like the frozen little frozen pizzas.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I've
it's
seen those.
like I guess the better question would have been is actual California Pizza Kitchen as good as the frozen pizzas? Because that's the better like out of all the frozen pizzas, like that's probably the better frozen pizza that's out
Okay.
there.
It's
But
probably, I mean, I'm not sure. I've actually never had the frozen pizza. I think I've eaten at California Pizza Kitchen like once,
okay.
but it's like a pretty big chain here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. All righty. Well, that was a weird way to end it, but it is what it is.
But I'm a pizza snob, so I should
What's
clarify.
that?
I'm a pizza snob though, so I should
Okay.
probably clarify that.
Okay.
My dad like is a baker and like makes me like homemade pizza and like
Yep.
their clay oven thing all the time. So
Yeah. Oh,
I make
my dad, like being from Chicago, it's like, but it's weird. Like the best pizza I've ever had is not from Chicago. Like, I mean, it is from
okay.
Chicago, but it isn't in Chicago. So it's
Yeah.
just like, but no, I completely get you. And for whatever reason, I just think frozen California Pizza Kitchen is really good.
It probably is.
Yeah,
I don't really eat frozen pizza.
I got you.
Yeah.
I live in the middle of Texas. Like, there's not any good pizza in Texas. So it's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to eat frozen pizza and I'm going
Yeah,
to be weird
there you
about it.
go.
So, but once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving us the time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later.